Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Another 3 points for Celtic at the weekend. Make sure that we stay at the top of the table. But business goes on. We still have work to do, and even the manager has confirmed there are signings yet to come through the door at Celtic before that window slams shut in a couple of weeks. And alongside that, we have some fresh rumours this morning. So let's get all the updates on the transfer front. Let's get into this. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. Make sure to do that because we are almost there. We are so close to 40,000 subscribers, about 500 away now. The support has been brilliant. I cannot tell you how much I appreciate it. So press that button down below. It's absolutely free, and when we hit 40k, there'll be a wee giveaway on the channel too. So yeah, thanks. So a massive 3 points for Celtic yesterday at Pittodrie. A tough game against Aberdeen. It was always going to be a tough game. Playing the third best side in the country. They went for it. They attacked the game. And I thought Celtic dealt with it reasonably well. But alongside that, there was obvious negatives amongst the performance. And those negatives being the fact that there are areas that still need strengthened within the club. We still need to make a couple of signings here and there before this window slams shut to prepare us both for the lengthy domestic challenge and trying to defend a treble, but also to take us forward on a European level. So the manager recognises that, the fans certainly recognise that. Ultimately, I'm happy with the 3 points yesterday. It's time to move on from that though, and let's talk about the business that Celtic are going to try and conduct between now and the end of the transfer window. So yesterday, Brendan Rodgers spoke to the media following that win in Aberdeen, talking about our transfer business, and he confirmed that there will still be a couple of signings to come in between now and the end of the window. He's not given an exact number on how many players he wants, but he's given a rough idea of what he wants. And that's a few players anyway to come in and strengthen this squad. This was him speaking in the Scotsman yesterday, saying we're obviously looking to reinforce with Caro going, so hopefully we can do that in the coming days, obviously hinting at the Gustav Lagerbielke signing. And then he said this, we need a few more, that's for sure. I don't want to put a number on it really, but we've got a bit of time to strengthen the squad, and hopefully we can do that. So there you go. He's said that he wants a few more, not one or two, a few, but he's not putting a number on it. I'd like to assume that we're still going to see at least 3 more signings in this window, including the signing of Gustav Lagerbielke. So I'm quite happy with that. I'm glad that the manager recognises there's need for improvement, because I think that was evident in yesterday's game. I think when you look at our strongest 11, we're in a pretty good place. But certainly when you take a couple of players out of the mix and a couple of players drop out with injuries, then you start to see the kind of gaps that they'd filled between now and the end of the window. So, yeah, let's talk about some of the rumours. We're going to talk about a fresh one today, which just came out about a Premier League winger we're looking at. We're going to save that towards the end. Let's get an update on a couple of the Celtic targets in this window. Gustav Lagerbielke, we've said his name a few times already. People are loving the way that I say it in the comments, so I'll try my best to keep it as consistent as possible until it starts to annoy you, and then we'll try and take it down a more Ouija route. But apparently he is on his way. He's flying to Scotland today to complete his move to Celtic after making his final appearance for Elfsborg over the weekend. A £3 million deal looks to be getting tied up. It's a record sale for the Swedish side, and Celtic will strengthen the centre-back position with him over the next 24 hours. I would imagine. Hopefully the announcement will come tomorrow, but it seems like most things will be done tonight. The signing of the contract, the medical at Ross Hall or wherever it may be. I think that should all be tied up. So it's good to see that is happening. It's good to see it all sort of finalise itself. So hopefully no problems in the medical, no problems in the finalisation of contracts, and maybe over the next 24 hours we'll have that official announcement that Gustav Lagerbielke will be a Celtic player. He basically confirmed his move anyway after his final appearance for Elfsborg. He said this following the game. He said, I don't want to say anything before something is signed, but it may have been my last game. A fun challenge has arrived to go to a big club in Europe, play in the Champions League. and hopefully win titles. That was when he was shoved on the telly after the game. I believe they lost, actually, in his last game. I think it was a 1-0 defeat for Elfsborg in his final game for the club, but he was ushered on to media duties following the game and all but confirmed his move to Celtic. So, yeah, as I said, as long as there's no slip-ups with the kind of last details and the medical and such, which I doubt there will be if he was playing a game yesterday, for crying out loud, yeah, he should be a Celtic player very, very soon. So exciting. And one final update on rumoured signings this summer. We can say goodbye to the dream. Dominic Livakovic will not be joining Celtic, as I've been saying this entire window. As much as I wanted it to happen, as much as we could dream that would happen, it's all but confirmed that he will not be a Celtic player. A devastating one to miss out on if the chances were realistic of it happening. But I must say, it doesn't feel that hard to take because I never expected it to happen. But yeah, it looks as though he's sealed his move to Fenerbahce after talks of that for the last few weeks. Of course, it was kind of up and down with them reportedly looking into the likes of Keylor Navas. So it wasn't, Livakovic wasn't guaranteed to go there, but the reports in Turkey are saying that should be finished. During the week, he should be signed and unveiled as a Fenerbahce player, and he's picked that move. Whether Celtic or not would have been serious at any point at going for someone. The price tag and the severity of Livakovic, we'll never really know, but it won't be coming to Celtic this summer. So yeah, everybody in the comments section asking me for updates on him, and if we'll get him, there you go. That's the final time we'll get to speak about him, and it will always remain a dream. Yeah. Right then, so finally, let's move on to the big transfer story of the day. As we know, Celtic are in need of a left winger. We've spoke about that in great depth on this channel. It'd be good to bring in someone who fills the boots of Jota. Even though I'm very happy with the depth we have in terms of, Abada being there, Maida there, Haksabanovic maybe there, Yang's looking good as well. We have got good wingers. We do need another one, don't we? And it looks as though Celtic may have identified who that might be. According to some outlets, Celtic are interested in signing Ryan Fraser from Newcastle. One that, yeah, let's talk about it. So reported originally by the Northern Echo and now by every mainstream outlet. This was the story here. Celtic interested in signing Newcastle winger Ryan Fraser. Apparently in for a move as he's out of favour, and Newcastle not demanding, this is the words of the article, not demanding a big fee. Apparently Newcastle just willing to get him off the wage bill, get him out of the club, and use that elsewhere in their squad because he is on a decent enough wage. And reportedly Celtic are in amongst it to make it happen and bring him into the club, which is one that I really can't form an opinion on, to be quite honest. Of course, Ryan Fraser has been out of favour at Newcastle for nearly a year now. He fell out with Eddie Howe last season. He hasn't kicked a ball since October of 2022. He's done at Newcastle, and he was always going to be done when they got bought over by the Saudis. He was never going to be in that team when they got the big bucks to spend. He's not exactly an elite level player. They were always going to be able to sign bigger and better than Ryan Fraser. No disrespect to him because he's a decent player, but it was never going to work out for him at Newcastle. Now he wants away, and apparently Celtic are one of the teams interested. And the way that I look at it is, it seems to be a very short-term thing for Celtic. I think if this happens, something that kind of plugs a hole for now until we can identify someone maybe a bit younger at a decent fee that's willing to come to Celtic. But Ryan Fraser can come in and do a job for maybe a year or two. He turns 30 in February. He's not played football since October. It just kind of screams Scott Sinclair, doesn't it? Which isn't necessarily a bad thing. Scott Sinclair was one of the best players in Brendan Rodgers' first spell, arguably his best player in the first spell. He would go down as a modern Celtic great. He was fantastic, brilliant to watch, brilliant goal contributions, and defied a lot of expectation, especially from me who wasn't too happy at the Scott Sinclair signing. So that's why I say it's very Scott Sinclair-esque, because right now, I don't look at Ryan Fraser as someone who I'm entirely happy with, I must admit, but I feel like a lot of people will be happy. He's homegrown, he has got quality, he's shown that quality before, but he's just getting that little bit older. He's not played in a while. It feels like we're signing a bit of a reject in a sense, so I'm not exactly thrilled by it, but I know for a fact that he could come in and he could be a great player for Celtic. I know that he's got a level that could maybe terrorise Scottish Premiership defenders and do a job for us in Europe. He is a good footballer. I just don't know if it's the risk that Celtic should be taking, and that's why I'm so on the fence about it, not entirely sure if it's who I would go for. But yeah, apparently Celtic interested. He is one of the options Brendan Rodgers is reportedly considering. Let's have a little bit of a look at his last few years. On screen now is his goal returns and such for the last 3-4 years, and obviously he's not a winger who gets a lot of goal contributions. He's definitely more of a player who does all of his work outside of that. He's good at carrying the ball, good dribbler, fast, pacey, but doesn't really chip in with many goals and assists. As you can see here, in his last good Premier League run, he had 27 appearances, only 2 goals and 3 assists. Obviously, you're playing at a very high level. Newcastle, back then, if you remember, they weren't a great side. So, 2 goals and 3 assists from the left wing wasn't that bad when you consider how bad Newcastle were back then. You then go before that, he had 3 assists in his last campaign before that, and then back in 2019-20, with Bournemouth, he got 28 appearances with 1 goal and 4 assists. So he does like chipping in with the assists. You've got to remember, these have been statistics with low-end Premier League sides that are in and around the relegation zone. It's not easy to score goals when you're down there. It's not easy to assist goals when you're down there because you're a very big gulf in quality between the bottom and the top. So he's definitely been a talented player. There's absolutely no denying that. But the fact that he has lay to the side, not even on the bench, he's been outcasted from the Newcastle side for almost a full year now. I'm just like, I don't know if the fee is small enough. Maybe it can work for the next year or two, but I just have a lot of reservations around it. He is still contracted with Newcastle till 2025, so that would automatically make you go, right, well, 2 years left, they might want a bit more, but they have said they don't want a big fee. The stumbling block is going to come with the wages. That's where there is a bit of an unknown entity as to what he'll want moving to Celtic. What does he expect as a football player? There doesn't seem to be a lot of deals on the table for Ryan Fraser, so I don't think he can exactly be over the top at his demands for a wage. But right now at Newcastle, some outlets are reporting he's on £40,000 a week. Some outlets reporting as high as £70,000 a week. It does seem there's a blurred line as to what he is on at Newcastle, but one of the websites reporting that he's currently on an annual wage of £2.173 million, which would equal roughly £42,000 a week. Now, coming to Celtic, I don't think we would pay anything as high as that. I think that he would have to really kind of ease his expectations, maybe get 30 grand a week if he's lucky. But it doesn't seem he's got a lot of deals on the table, so if he wants to play football, then maybe Celtic does become one of his most realistic and one of his most viable options. Don't get me wrong, Ryan Fraser's a talented footballer. He's made 25 appearances for Scotland at this point. He's scored 4 goals for the country. We've seen him play firsthand. We know the style that he does have. He's one of those players that, unlike many of the signings we make, we can sit here and say we do know a lot about him. I want to know your opinion. Would you be happy with the signing of Ryan Fraser? As I said, honestly, the closest thing I can compare it to is Scott Sinclair. He's someone who on paper to me just doesn't seem like a desirable signing. I wouldn't be happy with it at the time, but I know that he's got the ability. If he applies himself and gets the minutes, I know that he's probably going to come in and be good at this level and good enough for this level, and maybe surpass the expectations I do have of him. I think I would have to see more as the news develops in regards to numbers that we're looking at money-wise to see if it's a deal that I think Celtic should pursue. But right now I'm very on the fence about it, if there is truth in it. Right, that'll do it for today. A bit longer than I was anticipating to start the week, but we'll watch all of these stories develop. Hopefully Gustav Lagerbielke will be here tomorrow. We'll watch how this Ryan Fraser story develops, if there's anything to it. And we'll see what other signings Brendan Rodgers tries to make, as he wants a few names. Stick with me, like and subscribe, and I'll see you all next time.